named after the very man that got this track a-rolling back in 1988. The very track we're sitting on was set for federal abandonment in 1988, but this very track before that is how the Biltmore House got their supplies. This was the Murphy branch for Norfolk Southern Railroad. Before that, Southern Railway. Completed and built by prison labor in 1892. We're sitting on the old Murphy branch, a 125-mile route that stretches from Asheville all the way up into southern Appalachia down to Murphy, North Carolina. Today we're taking a beautiful ride. This is a 44-mile round trip ride today. We'll be on this train for a 3.5 up to 4.5 hour journey. We go up this mountain 22 miles one way in elevation, okay? We're going to rise 5.3 degrees in elevation, and on the right side, every mile coming up in a moment is going to be a number every mile. They're known as mileposts, put in by the railway a very long time ago when this was being built. That milepost is the distance to Asheville. We're going to see number 64 momentarily coming up. This is the right side as we climb up the mountain. When we come down the mountain, this is the right side. So coming up momentarily, number 64. We're going to go from number 64 to number 86, past 86. Today we are so long, you notice I had several people this morning ask me where their boarding station was, and we didn't have to walk forward number 2. We all have LA parking today, to be honest. Why? We're all first class. They don't make us walk to the town of Hillsborough to get on the train, right? Everybody look out your window right now. On your left side, real quick, you're going to see a big circle with the train track in the middle of it, coming up right here. That circle is how we turn around this unbelievable steam locomotive. It is located on the tow bag that is on your seat. This steam locomotive is actually pulling us today. This was built in 1942. Okay, it was built by Baldwin Works in Pennsylvania. It went to Fort Bragg to do its tour of duty. It never went to Europe. That's why it's still standing. It is an S-160 class built for the war, but it never went to Europe. It weighs 120 tons. It'll do roughly 70 miles an hour flat out. Doesn't do a lot of work going backwards, so they need an Armstrong turntable to turn around that 120-ton piece of equipment. Okay. Now our steam locomotive is different than any one in North America. Here's why. It was built in 1942, went to Fort Bragg, did its tour of duty for the Army Corps of Engineers. It got sold to 7 companies before the Great Smoky Mountains Railroad acquired it in 1998. We ran it for 10 very successful years as the steam of the Smokies. You're fine. Perfect. After 10 years of running that train, the firebox got very thin. We had to do a rebuild. We took it offline and we rebuilt it from the bolts up. When we rebuilt it from the bolts up, we converted it to oil from coal. It actually runs on 3,600 gallons of oil, 10,000 gallons of water. I'll get that door for you. Today, if you were outside on the open air car, the entire trip would smell like egg rolls because we contract with all the Chinese food restaurants for the oil. They got the best oil. All right. Now, anybody here, if you've seen a Harry Potter movie, raise your hand. Okay. The very engine that pulled the Hogwarts Express is modeled after an S-160 class, exactly like ours. Okay? You're going to learn the history of Southern Appalachia. You're going to learn a lot about the Cherokee, a lot about the area, and I'm going to give you some direction on where to go to see things most people don't know about.
You mean you're going to tell us where to go?
Appalachian tour guide. So everybody take notes, and by the way, class has officially begun. Everybody look out your left side, right? Folks, this body of water is called a river. There you go. But this river is one of 3 we're going to see today that flow in opposite directions. Now this river was named by the Cherokee thousands of years ago. This river is named Tuckasegee. Everybody say Tuckasegee.
Tuckasegee.
It was pretty good. Right here yesterday, a guy goes, Tuskegee. I said, sir, did you have a Bloody Mary at breakfast? He said, I had two. How do you know? I said, I don't care how much vodka you had. We're never going to make it to Alabama, which is where Tuskegee is. Tuckasegee is a Cherokee word. That word means slow moving like a turtle. Tuckasegee was named by the Cherokee because that turtle was very important to the survival of that tribe in this remote area. That turtle provided sustenance, meat, provided beautiful shells to make jewelry, a source of trade, economy, and subsistence. This is one of three rivers we're going to see today, and all three rivers flow in opposite directions. All three rivers fill a man-made lake that is 450 feet deep. That lake, Lake Fontana, it is the deepest lake in the state of North Carolina. Now hold on tight today, because Thursdays is maintenance day. What's that mean, Steve? Well, check this out. This track, completed in 1892. The bridges, really old. We are going to attempt to cross over them up and down the mountain, checking the structural integrity of these bridges in both directions today. It's our job. There you go. Have no fear if we do not make it over one of these bridges. If we plummet to a lake or river below, they save this car first. Do you want to know why? We're all first class. You've seen the Titanic, how that worked out.
Oh, yeah.
Now that's the good news. The bad news, your seat cushions, not flotation devices. Now, the guy driving our 1942 1800 horsepower steam locomotive, lunatic. This guy loves NASCAR. Okay. We will reach a maximum speed. Are you sitting still? 20 miles an hour. It's going to be riveting. Okay. Now, we are all adults here. So all day long, I'm going to need you to do something for me. Since we are adults, when I walk by your table, I need you to just take your tops off for me. That's all I'm looking for. Now, if we were in New Orleans, I'd probably be handing out beads if you took off your top. But I'm talking about these tops right here. Can I borrow this? All right. Now, ladies, raise your hand if you get your fingernails polished. Who gets a manicure? Anybody? Okay, guess what? What is it, like 40 bucks for a manicure? Maybe 50? Oh, he thinks it's 20. It's 20. Just kidding. There's a correct way to open this tumbler. If you try to use your fingernails and rip it off, another $50. You'll rip off a tip, crack a nail. Use your thumb tab. Right there. Push it up with your thumb. In this soft drink tumbler, I'm going to put soft drinks. This is what we have. This is what we have. We don't have what we don't have. We have Coke. We have Diet Coke. We have Sprite. We have lemonade. We have sweet and unsweet tea. Pay attention. Our sweet tea, make your eyes roll to the back of your head. Your blood sugar in the wrong direction. But guess what? I can mix it with the unsweet tea. 50-50, 80-20, 60-40. You see, there is nobody that knows how to mix drinks like me on this entire train. So much so that they had me open up the Moonshine Experience 6 years ago. But this is my first job, 8 years ago, since 1992. But before 1992, bartender on the beaches of Fort Lauderdale in the 80s. If you remember spring break in the 80s, I made a rain cocktail. So they had me open up that Moonshine Experience. Later in the day, I'm going to yell 5 o'clock. What's that mean? 5 o'clock somewhere. I have a menu. We got beer, wine, and cocktails. That's coming up a little bit later. Ladies, you raise your hand, ladies. Who came onto the train with a designer purse today? Anybody with a designer handbag? Anybody? Okay, couple. There we go. Don't feel bad. There's 40 people in this car right now. Only 3 people raised their hand. But don't worry about it. You want to know why? I got everybody designer tote bags. Check it out. Ladies in New York are going wild for these things. They're not a Fendi, they're not a Gucci, they're not a Dooney, they're not a Louis, they're not a Prada, they're not even Michael Kors. Check this out. We are all first class. There you go. We're all first class, but I got everybody a coach. Coach. Now, moans, groans, smiles, that's what I look for. I don't care if you laugh at me or you laugh with me. I love entertaining. So I took this job and they gave me a chance since I have no talent. It's the only thing I can do. I have two skill sets. Making people laugh and making great cocktails. So they had me come on to this train several years ago. They had me teach everybody how to make you laugh. But before this job, treasure hunter. Anybody ever see the show Storage Wars? Storage hunter. I was on Storage Wars Miami several episodes, but I had already closed up my operation in South Florida, moved to Southern Appalachia. I love treasure, but I love entertaining. The problem has always been I have no talent. I can't sing, I can't play an instrument, but I will make you laugh at me or with me all day. You're going to learn a lot, but I'm going to tell you right now, 80% of what I tell you is actually true. Okay? Unless you're in the moonshine car, that's 50% true because you don't remember anything anyway. After 7 samples of moonshine. Okay? Now I'm going to ask you to do one thing for me. I'm going to ask you to put your meal tickets on the edge of your table. We are the 4th car eating today, roughly an hour from now, maybe a little bit longer. The food is homemade, the food is phenomenal, but I need to collect your meal tickets, okay? Folks, if one of you two or you